What if I told you that the reason you can no longer get hard the way you used to has absolutely nothing to do with your age, your testosterone, or anything being broken inside you? And that the real reason, the one nobody in a white coat has ever sat down and explained to you, is something happening inside your blood vessels right now, quietly, invisibly, every single day. And what if the fix wasn't a pill that gives you a 4-hour window and a side effect list that reads like a horror story, but a single drink you can make in your kitchen tonight, using 6 ingredients that work together in a way that changes what happens in your body within hours? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I am going to show you exactly what to drink, exactly why it works, and exactly what you should feel, starting as early as tomorrow morning. And I want to be clear about something before we go any further. I am not going to give you one ingredient and send you on your way. What I am about to share works because of synergy, because these 6 things combine in a way that activates 5 completely different pathways in your body at the same time. Remove any one of them, and you get a fraction of the result. Keep all 6 and you get something men describe as feeling like their body came back online after years of silence. I am going to walk you through them one by one. By the 3rd ingredient, you will understand why nothing else you have tried has lasted. By the 6th, you will be ready to make this tonight. But before we go any further, type your age in the comments right now. Just your age. Because what I am about to share becomes more powerful the longer this has been building in your system. And I want to know exactly who is watching this. My name is Dr. Mei Anderson. I am a urologist with over 20 years of clinical experience, and I have dedicated my career specifically to the sexual health and vitality of men over 40. I want you to understand something about why I am making this video, because it is not academic for me. Over 2 decades, I have sat across from thousands of men, good men, strong men, men who built families and careers and gave everything they had to the people around them. And I have watched them shrink inside themselves when they describe what is happening to their bodies. They come in talking about energy, about feeling slow, about weight that won't move no matter what they eat. But if you sit with them long enough, if they trust you enough, the real conversation begins. They tell you about mornings that no longer start the way they used to. They tell you about the distance that has quietly grown between them and their partners. They tell you about the moment they realized something was different, and how they never mentioned it to anyone. And almost every single time they say the same thing. I thought it was just part of getting older. It is not. If you are new to this channel, welcome to Vital Health Seniors. I create content specifically for men over 40 who refuse to accept that decline is the only direction available to them. Hit subscribe and tap the bell right now so you never miss what I share here. Because this community is growing, and what comes next is going to change how you think about your body permanently. Now, let me describe something to you, and I want you to tell me in the comments if this sounds familiar. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you notice is what is missing. There was a time, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20, when waking up meant waking up fully. When your body announced itself every single morning without you asking it to. When firmness was automatic, reliable, something you almost took for granted because it had always just been there. That does not happen anymore. Or maybe it happens sometimes, weakly, briefly, just enough to remind you of what used to be constant. You get out of bed and you feel the heaviness. Not tired exactly, because you slept. But not rested either. Like the sleep did not fully reach you. Like your body ran some kind of overnight process that did not quite complete itself. By early afternoon your energy has already started its retreat. You push through because that is what you do. But the sharpness is not there. The drive that used to carry you through a full day feels like it runs out before the day does. And in the evenings, if you are honest, the desire that used to arrive naturally, that used to pull you toward your partner without any mental effort, now requires a different kind of work. You have to think yourself into it. And sometimes even that does not help. The confidence you carry in the world, the quiet physical confidence of a man who knows his body works, that has dimmed too. Maybe you hold back in situations where you used to step forward. Maybe there is a part of you that has quietly started to accept that this version of you is the one that stays. I need you to hear this clearly. That is not who you are. That is what happens to a man when his circulation is compromised. when the blood that is supposed to move freely and powerfully through his body, to his muscles, his brain, his heart, and to the tissues that control his sexual health, starts moving like water through a blocked pipe. You did not lose your vitality. Your blood stopped delivering it. And the moment that pipe is cleared, the moment circulation is genuinely restored, men describe something almost emotional, not just physical. They describe feeling returned to themselves. Like a light they had stopped expecting to come back on suddenly brightens from somewhere deep inside them. That is what this drink does. And before I give you the recipe, I need to give you the understanding behind it. Because once you know this, everything else makes sense, and you will never be misled by a quick fix again. Here is what most men are never told. An erection is not a testosterone event. It is a circulation event. Your brain sends a signal. That signal triggers the release of a molecule called nitric oxide inside your blood vessels. Nitric oxide tells the walls of your arteries to relax, to widen, to allow maximum blood to flow through. When that blood floods into the erectile tissue with enough pressure and speed, firmness happens. Automatically. Reliably. The way it did when you were in your 30s. Here is what goes wrong after 40. Your body's ability to produce nitric oxide declines. Steadily, significantly year after year. Your blood vessel walls become stiffer and less responsive. The inner lining of your arteries begins to accumulate oxidative damage. Blood moves slower. Pressure drops. And the amount of blood that reaches the pelvic tissue when arousal signals are sent becomes a fraction of what it once was. This is compounded by chronic inflammation, the low-grade, invisible kind that men over 40 almost universally carry inside their vessels. It narrows the pathways further. It degrades the nitric oxide before it can do its job. And it creates a feedback loop that worsens quietly and slowly, year by year, until one day a man sits across from me and says he does not know what happened to him. This is also why the pills do not solve the problem. They temporarily force blood into the tissue by blocking a single enzyme, but they do nothing for nitric oxide production. Nothing for vessel flexibility. Nothing for the inflammation eating your circulation from the inside. They give you a short window and a chemical dependency. And the moment you stop, everything is exactly where you left it. Sometimes worse. What your body actually needs is not a chemical override. It needs a circulation restoration. It needs the raw materials to rebuild nitric oxide production, reduce vessel inflammation, increase blood flow, and protect the hormonal environment that supports all of it, simultaneously. That is exactly what this drink delivers. Let us start with beetroot juice. Most men hear that and think salad. They have absolutely no idea they are looking at one of the most powerful natural circulation compounds on the planet. Beetroot is extraordinarily rich in dietary nitrates. When you drink beetroot juice, those nitrates are converted by your body into nitric oxide, the exact molecule your blood vessels need to relax and open. This is not a slow process. Studies have measured significant increases in circulating nitric oxide within 60 to 90 minutes of drinking it. Your blood vessels become measurably wider. Blood pressure measurably drops. Circulation to peripheral tissues, including the tissues that control your sexual function, measurably improves within the same evening you drink it. For a man over 40 whose nitric oxide production has been declining for years, this is not supplementing something that was working. This is reactivating something that went quiet. Men who add beetroot juice to their evening routine consistently report that morning firmness, the automatic, unconscious kind they thought was gone, begins returning within the first week. And the emotional weight of that first morning is something men struggle to describe. It is not just physical. It is a conversation with themselves they have not had in years. I am still here. My body is still capable. This is not over. But beetroot juice alone is like having a key with no lock. The second ingredient is the lock, and together, they open a pathway your body has been trying to access for years. Pomegranate juice has been used across Persian, Ayurvedic, and ancient Chinese medicine for centuries, specifically for male vitality. Modern science now understands exactly why. Pomegranate is one of the most antioxidant-rich substances you can put in your body, and those antioxidants do something specific and critical. They protect and repair the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the delicate inner surface that controls how blood flows, from the oxidative damage that accumulates with age, stress, and inflammation. Think of your arteries like a garden hose that has sat in the sun for years. The inside has become rough, slightly stiff, slightly narrowed. Water still moves through, but not with the same pressure. Pomegranate smooths that lining. It restores flexibility. It reduces arterial stiffness in ways that are measurable within weeks of consistent use. But there is a second function most men never hear about. Pomegranate contains compounds that inhibit aromatase, the enzyme responsible for converting testosterone into estrogen. After 40, aromatase activity increases quietly and steadily. It drains your free testosterone, your drive, your mood, your muscle response. Pomegranate slows that process and helps you keep the testosterone your body is already producing. Men who drink it regularly report improvements not just in firmness, but in desire. The pull. The want. The thing that has felt dulled or distant for longer than they can explain. Combined with beetroot, you now have a drink simultaneously creating wider blood vessels, protecting those vessels from further damage, and guarding your testosterone. The compound effect has begun. But your vessels can be open and flexible and still move blood too slowly. The next ingredient solves exactly that. Ginger is one of those things men smile at when I mention it. They have seen it in tea. They have had it in food. They have no idea they have been sitting next to a circulation powerhouse their entire lives. Ginger contains compounds, primarily gingerols and shogales, that reduce blood viscosity, making the blood thinner, smoother, and faster moving. They also carry some of the strongest natural anti-inflammatory properties identified in modern research, reducing the chronic vascular inflammation that narrows your arteries and breaks down your nitric oxide before it reaches where it needs to go. And ginger measurably increases blood flow to peripheral tissues, including the pelvic region specifically. Studies using thermal imaging have confirmed increased circulation to distal tissues within an hour of consumption. Men describe a warmth, a physical awareness of blood moving differently, more present, more alive in their own body. Here is the synergy that makes ginger indispensable in this combination. The nitric oxide your beetroot juice produces, ginger protects it. By reducing the inflammatory compounds that would otherwise break nitric oxide down before it reaches your erectile tissue, ginger extends the window of effectiveness of the first ingredient. It makes ingredient 1 last longer. It makes ingredient 2 work deeper. This is what synergy actually means. Not just adding ingredients, but each one amplifying and extending what came before. By now you have a drink that ignites nitric oxide, protects your vessels, guards your testosterone, and accelerates blood flow. But we have not yet addressed something that most men completely overlook: the neurological side of desire. The wanting. The arousal signal itself. That is where the next ingredient becomes deeply personal. Raw cacao powder is the ingredient that surprises men most, and the one they are most grateful for once they experience it. Raw cacao, not processed chocolate, not supermarket cocoa powder, but genuine raw cacao, is one of the most flavanol-rich substances you can consume. Flavanols have a direct, measurable effect on nitric oxide synthesis. Studies show that raw cacao increases nitric oxide production beyond what dietary nitrates alone can achieve. It does not just support what beetroot started. It multiplies it through a completely separate biochemical pathway. But the sexual health impact of raw cacao goes further than blood flow. Cacao stimulates the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for desire, anticipation, and wanting. The same neurochemical pathway that fires when you feel genuine pull toward your partner. After 40, dopamine sensitivity declines. The neural reward around desire becomes quieter. Men describe needing to think themselves into arousal that used to arrive automatically. Raw cacao revives that pathway, not artificially, not pharmaceutically, but by providing the raw neurochemical building blocks that your brain's pleasure circuits depend on to function. It also reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that is one of the most powerful suppressors of erections and libido in the male body. Cortisol tells your brain you are in survival mode. It shuts down systems it classifies as non-essential. and your brain classifies sexual performance as non-essential when it perceives threat. Cacao calms that response, telling your nervous system that it is safe to desire, safe to respond, safe to perform. Men who add raw cacao to this drink describe something that goes beyond firmness. They describe wanting again. The electric pull of genuine arousal that they had stopped expecting to feel. One man told me, after nearly 8 years of believing that part of his life was behind him, that he lay awake one night 2 weeks into this routine, next to his wife, and felt something he had not felt in so long he had almost forgotten the name for it. That is not a side effect of a pill. That is a man's desire returning to him. With the first 4 ingredients working together, you now have a drink building nitric oxide on 2 separate pathways, protecting your vessels, guarding your testosterone, accelerating blood flow, and restoring the neurological desire signal. The full circuit is firing. But there is an enemy that comes for all of this while you sleep, and if you do not address it, you will undo by morning what the first 4 ingredients built by night. Blood sugar spikes are the single most effective destroyer of nitric oxide and testosterone in the male body, and they happen most aggressively at night. When your blood glucose rises, your body releases insulin. Elevated insulin directly suppresses nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme responsible for producing nitric oxide in your blood vessels. It also triggers a cortisol response. And high cortisol overnight devastates your testosterone production, your sleep quality, and every benefit this drink has started creating in your body. This is why so many men feel worse in the morning than they expect to. The hormonal environment collapses while they sleep. The circulation improvements quietly dial back, and they wake up wondering why nothing seems to be changing. Ceylon cinnamon. And I am specific about Ceylon rather than cassia, because the active compound concentrations matter significantly. Stabilizes blood glucose with remarkable effectiveness. It improves insulin sensitivity, reducing the spikes that would otherwise sabotage your hormones through the night. It also improves insulin sensitivity specifically in smooth muscle tissue, which includes the smooth muscle inside erectile tissue, allowing it to respond more fully to the blood flow this drink creates. Think of cinnamon as the lock that keeps the door open. The first 4 ingredients open your circulation. Cinnamon makes sure it stays open while your body does its most important repair work during deep sleep. When testosterone is naturally at its highest production of the entire day, men who add cinnamon to this drink consistently report that the morning changes come faster and stay more consistent. The overnight erosion they had grown used to simply stops happening. One ingredient remains. And this one changes everything about how the other 5 are absorbed. Black seed oil, from the plant Nigella sativa, has been used for over 3,000 years across Middle Eastern, African, and Asian cultures, specifically for male vitality and reproductive health. The active compound is thymoquinone, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds identified in clinical research. But what makes it uniquely valuable in this drink is not just what it does independently. It is what it does to everything else. Thymoquinone amplifies the absorption and bioavailability of flavonols, nitrates, and antioxidant compounds. In practical terms, it makes the other 5 ingredients work harder, absorb deeper, and remain active longer in your system. Remove it and you receive perhaps 60% of the result this drink is capable of producing. Add it, and the entire combination reaches a different level entirely. Its direct benefits are also significant on their own. Black seed oil improves free testosterone levels. Multiple studies confirm this in men over 40 specifically. It improves the function of the Leydig cells, the specific cells inside the testes responsible for producing testosterone, in ways that most natural compounds cannot reach. And combined with raw cacao, it creates what I consider the most underrated natural synergy in men's sexual health. Cacao fires the neurological desire pathway. Black seed ensures the hormonal and vascular environment is fully prepared to back it up. One sends the signal. The other delivers the capacity to fulfill it. Together, beetroot, pomegranate, ginger, raw cacao, cinnamon, and black seed oil. These 6 create something none of them could produce alone. A complete circulatory and hormonal restoration delivered in one glass, working through the night, producing results that men feel the next morning, and build on every day that follows. Here is exactly how to make it. You need 150 milliliters of organic cold-pressed beetroot juice, 100 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice with no added sugar, half a teaspoon of fresh grated ginger or a quarter teaspoon of quality ginger powder, 1 heaped teaspoon of raw cacao powder, a quarter teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil. Add everything to a blender or a large cup and stir or blend until fully combined. Drink it cold. Do not heat it. Heat degrades the nitric oxide compounds in the beetroot and the flavonols in the cacao, and that would undermine the very mechanisms you are trying to activate. Drink it 30 to 45 minutes before bed. This timing is not arbitrary. Your body enters its primary testosterone production and tissue repair cycle during the first 90 minutes of deep sleep. Drinking this in that window before bed means all 6 compounds are circulating and active at the exact moment your body is most ready to use them. You can also drink it 30 minutes before sexual activity. The immediate nitric oxide boost creates a measurable increase in pelvic blood flow that directly supports performance in the moment. In the first 3 nights, most men notice a warmth, a physical awareness of blood moving differently through the lower body. A subtle but unmistakable sense of aliveness they had genuinely forgotten was possible. By the end of the first week, morning firmness begins returning. Not occasionally, consistently, more reliable than it has been in years. This is when men reach out to me. This is when they know something real is changing. By weeks 2 and 3, the fullness returns. Not just morning response but stamina, sensitivity, and the connection between arousal and physical response that used to feel automatic beginning to feel automatic again. Partners notice. Energy improves across the day. Mental clarity sharpens. Sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. By week 4, men describe what I can only characterize as a reunion with themselves. Full restoration of natural function. Consistent, reliable responses. Desire that arrives without effort. Confidence that carries into every area of their life. If you're going to try this drink tonight, type the word flow in the comments right now. I want to see it. And come back in 30 days and tell me what happened. Because your comment will be the reason another man watching this decides to take the first step. I want to address something directly before we close, because some of you are currently taking medication for this. I understand why. When something stops working and a doctor offers a solution, you take it. But I want you to understand what those medications actually do versus what this drink does, because the difference is fundamental. Pills work by forcing a single mechanism. They block the enzyme that breaks down the chemical that keeps blood vessels temporarily open. They do not produce nitric oxide. They do not repair vessel walls. They do not address inflammation. They do not protect testosterone. They do not restore the desire pathway. They give you a hydraulic effect with a timer on it and nothing underneath. And the moment you stop, you are back exactly where you were because the underlying circulatory problem remains completely untouched. This drink does the opposite of that. It builds. Every night you drink it, you are not just experiencing a temporary effect. You are improving the actual condition of your blood vessels, increasing your body's own capacity to produce nitric oxide, reducing the inflammation that was restricting your circulation, and protecting the hormonal environment that makes all of it sustainable. After 4 weeks, men are not dependent on the drink to perform. They are performing because their circulation has been genuinely restored. They continue the ritual to maintain and enhance, not because they cannot function without it. That is the difference between forcing the body and healing it. Let me speak to you directly now, not as a clinician, as someone who has spent 20 years watching what happens to men when this part of their health suffers, and what happens when it is restored. What is taken from a man when his sexual health declines is not just physical. It is the quiet confidence that runs underneath everything else he does. The way he moves through a room, the way he feels standing next to his partner, the way he wakes up and decides what kind of day he is going to have. When a man cannot trust his body, when he has learned to expect disappointment rather than capability, that uncertainty leaks into everything. He becomes more cautious, more withdrawn. He stops initiating. He stops reaching. Not because he does not want to, but because the cost of trying and failing has become too painful to risk repeatedly. And here is what I know after 2 decades of this work. That is not aging. That is a wounded circulatory system, generating a wounded self-image. And the moment circulation is restored, the moment a man wakes up firm and strong 3 mornings in a row, the moment desire returns without effort, the moment his body responds the way it is supposed to, everything shifts. He stands differently. He speaks with more certainty. He reaches toward his partner instead of pulling back. He remembers who he is, not who he was, who he is, because that man did not go anywhere. He was simply cut off from the resources that made him feel like himself. A heart erection is not vanity. It is a health signal. It tells you your heart is pumping powerfully, your vessels are clear, your hormones are communicating, your body is alive and functioning as it was designed to. When that returns, everything returns. You did not lose yourself. Your circulation lost you. And now, with 6 ingredients, 1 glass, and 30 days of consistency, you can find your way back to the man who has been waiting there this entire time. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Write your age in the comments and tell me this. What is the one thing you want back most? The morning firmness, the energy through the day, the desire for your partner, the confidence in the bedroom, or the stamina that used to feel effortless? Just one. Be honest. Because your answer will tell you which of these 6 ingredients matters most for your specific situation, and I will reply to as many of you as I can. Your comment will also reach another man. A man watching this right now from a place of silence and resignation who needs to see that other men his age are talking about this openly, taking it seriously, and doing something about it. Do not underestimate the power of that. If this gave you even one thing you did not know before, hit the like button. That single action puts this video in front of the next man searching quietly for answers he has not found yet. Subscribe to Vital Health Seniors if you have not already, because this community is built for men who refuse to believe their best chapter is behind them. And send this to one man in your life who needs it. Not as a joke, as something real. Because too many men are living with a problem that has a solution they have simply never been shown. Come back in 30 days. Tell me what happened. I will be here. I am Dr. Mei Anderson. Take care of yourself, because you deserve to feel strong, capable, and fully alive at every age. I will see you in the next video.